On July 28th of 1945, a B-25 Mitchell bomber transporting military personnel from Massachusetts to Newark Airport would lose its way in fog coming over Manhattan Island and crash into the north face of the Empire State Building, killing 14 people. But out of this horrible tragedy comes an amazing tale of survival. Today's story is about Betty Lou Oliver. Betty Lou Oliver was a 20-year-old elevator attendant at the Empire State Building, and July 28th was actually going to be her last day of work. Her plans were to move back to Arizona with her sweetheart and start a family. It was going to be a day of farewell to her co-workers, but just not as she imagined. At around 9:40 a.m., Betty Lou Oliver is at her post on the 80th floor when that plane, flying at a speed of 200 miles per hour, crashes into the 79th and 80th floor. Emergency personnel show up to the scene to find a fire raging through numerous floors, a gaping hole in the side of the building with half a plane hanging out of it, and dead bodies strewn all over the place. But there, in the midst of all this carnage, was Betty Lou Oliver, alive! And considering her proximity to the impact of that crash, it seemed improbable. She suffered numerous injuries and severe burns, so rescue workers gingerly put her onto a gurney and wheel her into the elevator to begin her descent to safety. But just when Betty Lou Oliver thought that her nightmare had come to an end, the unthinkable happens. The elevator cables snap, and Betty Lou Oliver plummets through the darkness down the elevator shaft, 80 stories, 1,000 feet. When rescue workers showed up and saw the mangled, twisted, crushed elevator, they expected the worst. But Betty Lou Oliver survived again. I know, right? Some say that it was a mere fluke of physics that saved Betty Lou Oliver's life. Some say it was divine intervention, perhaps a little bit of both. The 1,000 feet of elevator cables coiled up underneath the elevator and cushioned the impact, while the rapid air compression slowed down her fall. Betty Lou Oliver broke her neck, her pelvis, and her back, but would make a full recovery. 5 months later, Betty Lou Oliver would return to the 80th floor of the Empire State Building and pay her respects to those that lost their lives. She would also end up in the Guinness Book of World Records for surviving the longest elevator freefall, something I'm sure she wasn't striving for. But most importantly, she would return home to Arizona with her sweetheart, have 3 beautiful children, and she would live to the ripe old age of 74 years old when she died in 1999. So anytime I think I'm having a bad day that I can't get through, I just think of Betty Lou Oliver.